Peace and blessings, family. We'd like to thank everybody who's joining us today for taking a small time out of your day to join us here on the Next Generation broadcast here with my dear brothers. I first like to start off by saying, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah who came to us in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad. I further bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his exalted Christ and their servant of those two in our midst. A leader, teacher, and guide among us today is no other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I like to greet the audience today by saying Assalamu alaikum. I further like to say I want to thank Student Minister Patrick Muhammad for giving me the opportunity to be on this this Seventh Region Coalition effort to help save lives. And I want to thank our student captain down here for just guiding me through this process and always looking out for your brother on these type of projects. And so I first want to thank brother Aidan next and brother Alim. Brother Aidan, how you doing today, sir?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, dear brother. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine by Allah's grace. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine by Allah's grace and mercy. I'm grateful that I got some brothers that it takes a little bit of the day that they have, man, to give to our people, take their cup that they got and pour it into the people. I appreciate you, dear brother.
Praise be to Allah. Happy to be here with my brothers.
Yes, sir. Happy Savior's Day, by the way, sir.
Happy Savior's Day to you also, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Brother Alim, this is his first time here on the Next Generation podcast, but this is a brilliant brother with a lot of things on his mind that he can share with the people. And so I want to say to you, brother Alim, assalamu alaikum, dear brother.
Walaikum salam, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing fine by Allah's grace and mercy. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day as well to join this platform here to get the message out to the next generation. Brother Alim, since your first time here, can you just give a brief description of yourself, where you may be based, in your mission and passion, things of that nature?
Yes, sir. Well, where I'm based is out in Muhammad's Mosque, number 61, out in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Okay. I'm a registered member in the Nation of Islam, and I've been actually registered since 2017. And,
Praise.
Just to save my people and help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in his mission. So I'm just, a brother striving to be a good brother at that. So that's just, a simple description of who I am.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, sir. Brother Aidan, you go ahead and give a short description of yourself if you like to, my brother.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Aidan X. I'm over in Muhammad Mosque 75. That's Resurrection in Las Vegas, yes. The beacon light of the West Coast. I'm 20 years old, striving to make my word bond to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We're here not to talk about sport and play, but we're talking about the very life of the black man and woman.
That's right.
I'm happy to be here.
Praise be to Allah. So let's just let's thank the audience, whoever is here viewing. Please, bring your youth to the screen. This is what this is about. This is the Next Generation broadcast, and so we seek to get this knowledge to the next generation. As well as our elders and our peers as well. So I thank you all for joining us today. Today's topic is the Willie Lynch Syndrome. How does it apply to us today? I'm going to do a short rundown of sort of just like the foundation of the Willie Lynch Syndrome, coming from a speech and a text given from Mr. William Lynch, I believe in 17. Wow, my goodness. I just had it too. We're going to get back to the exact date that he gave that speech. But in this, he basically wanted to motivate the slave masters of that time to have more control over the slaves, and also a flip side for them to be more admired by the slaves so that they wouldn't have to keep their foot on the neck. They could take their foot off the neck and they would continue to still be in that position as if the foot is on their neck as we are today. And so a little bit of those tactics that come with controlling the slaves, because there was a lot of slave revolts around the time, people getting inspired by other plantations and getting the inspired idea to revolt against their slave masters. And so they called this man William Lynch to help them with his tactics, because he was in the West Indies with his plantation using these tactics and experimenting on slaves, on the mindset of slaves, to see how to make them more submissive. So a couple of these tactics are, just to take control over the slaves. That's a base of it. The next one is to make the slave masters more dominant in the eyes of the slave, so that you don't have any forms of retaliation. The next one is to make the slaves more dependent on the master. The next is to stop any further slave revolts. His next mission was he studied to recognize the small differences in between slaves to cause division. And he continued, in the base of these tactics are fear, distrust, and envy. And he said that this should work for about 300 years on your people and on your slaves. So we're going to get right into the information and what we can say about how it applies to us today, because that's what we're here to do. We can talk about the past, but if we can't use it for our future, I don't know if it's that much beneficial. So let's go ahead and give them some context on how it applies to us today. Some of us may not even know it. So anything you all can say that's on your mind, dear brothers, we want you to share today. One of the first things is that he put the young male against the older male, and the older male against the younger male. Now, we can naturally just say that this is to cause division, but what comes to you, brother's mind, when we talk about what we see today with that type of mindset that we're left with? Is there any thoughts that come to you from either current events or the way that we act as a people today?
Yes, sir. I believe so. As we know that the older generation, those who are ahead of us, usually give counsel to those who are younger.
That's right. Now we can't naturally.
That's one of the things that is very helpful to the young people, is having the wisdom of the older generations of those before us. So that's as we see, there's a division between the two, where one envies the other. Then there's a division that helps, I would say, divide those two people, neglecting them being able to help each other. So as the young people are not getting the wisdom from the older people, then they're not moving about in a wise way, which is, just common sense. And I don't want to go too further, as that's just self-explanatory right there.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Brother Aidan, you got something on your heart you'd like to give, dear brother?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can also see it in not just physical age, but you see it in the age of the workforce.
Yes,
you have people bragging, and I've been working at this plantation for 10 years.
Come on now.
Ain't nothing nobody can tell me.
Yes, sir.
You just applied to the plantation. I've been here for 10 years.
Come on now.
And I got my own office next to the slave master.
Come on, brother. Yes, sir.
So we have this type of pride, especially in the older generation, because they come from a generation, particularly without social media.
That's right.
They see the brothers pushing on social media. They see the brothers maybe be making money on rapping or entertainment, and it's kind of an envy. It's kind of an envy due to age and this type of superficial type of reward system that the slave master gave to the past generations of slaves, being loyal slaves.
Yes, sir.
And we can see it in the workforce, and we can see it definitely because the workforce comes into the household. So we're raising our children to be slaves. We're not raising our children to be the gods that they are by nature.
That's right. Yes, sir. And my thoughts of it, right, man? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said that he was sent to or the Bible, the Old Testament says that Elijah was sent to turn the hearts of the children to the father and the father to the children. So you can see that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is literally a reverse version of what our slave masters was in enslaving us to be able to free us, because what they did was anybody who would even have an inclination to tell the youth, you know what, we being treated wrong, we should revolt. By that time, the youth will probably go and we gonna use real words. He probably go and snitch and tell the slave master that the father told him that's what they should do. And so when you create a distrust, the father can't instill any real manhood into that child, because the slave master has made the child so submissive and with the father, he has turned him against the father. So he doesn't want anything to do with him. And the father can't even teach him out of that slave-like mindset anymore. And so that's why I'm thankful for these teachings coming about to give us that reversal process of this Willie Lynch syndrome that we experience today. And further to go on in that letter of Mr. William Lynch, he sought to put the light against the dark. Now we know it applies to us a lot today, you know, in various states. Anybody, is anything come to y'all's minds when we talk about pitting the light against the dark with a slave-like mindset?
Well, sir. Well, one thing that does come to mind is when you have a lot of people who live in a country that's based on white supremacy, then they get a tendency of making them think they're better than their darker brothers.
Yes,
and
sir.
This vision, as you have the darker brothers who look at the light-skinned people as you think that you're better because you're lighter or you're more acceptable, then that's a division. You have two different groups. One thinks that they're better, then the other thinks that, you know, I'm not messing with them because they think that they're better. When we all go through the thing. And I heard the student minister Ishmael say that as well, that he had a problem with that growing up, that he didn't think that he was much better because he was lighter. He actually felt that he wanted to be darker.
Yes, yes, sir.
But the enemy has confused us more nowadays, where we use it as memes now. They always make it about light skin is more softer, or they do this type of thing that's weaker.
That's right.
Dark skinned people say that they're stronger, and it's nonsense, and we use it in a joking way, but it's really just showing the effects of the Willie Lynch syndrome.
That's right. Thank you, brother. That was a beautiful breakdown. Brother Aidan, would you like to give your thoughts on this?
Yes, sir. You see it also in, you know, back in the day they had the brown paper bag test. Well, now black men take it when it comes to the dating scene. You know, see, you very beautiful for a dark skin.
Come on.
You know,
teach, brother.
Do we not say that?
Come on. That's what we say.
For a dark skin. Wow. I want me a mulatto.
Come on, brother.
You know, we even got rappers naming themselves, you know, based on
mulatto. Come on now.
You know, the separation between the skin color and the skin shades.
Yes,
so we take pride in, you know, I'm not black. You know, I'm mixed.
Come on now.
I used to say, I'm not black. I'm mixed.
Yes.
You know? So I'm mixed with, like the Quran says, truth and falsehood. I'm mixed. I'm mixed all together. So I don't want to claim my blackness, because, you know, schools and even television, you know, before I had the teachings, you go on Disney or you watch any of your childhood TV shows, and most of the time, I'm going to say all the time, me growing up personally, they had the beautiful girl, and she had blonde hair, she had white skin, she had blue eyes, she was head cheerleader.
Yes, sir.
You know, she was a tall white girl. And then they always had the side characters or the ugly or the mean characters, a dark skin. You know, white people don't know how to do black women hair, so their hair was just looking crazy. You know, they put a little T-shirt on the dark skinned black girl, and they got the white girl dressed in Louis Vuitton and Chanel. You know, so psychologically that did something to us growing up.
Yes, sir.
So we think it's you see with our athletes. You know, when they get successful, they get a certain type of woman. You know, that represents success.
Yes.
So all of these things go into our relationships, and we hear a lot of black people say, "Man, I can't marry a man too dark because I want my children to come out. I want my children to come out looking cute."
Yes,
you know?
sir.
So black and beauty it seems like a contradiction in the devil's world, and that's all due to Willie Lynch. You know, we went from rulers to Willie.
Come on, that's right. Thank you, dear brother. And I just want to, toward the end of that Willie Lynch statement that he made to the slave masters of that time, he talked about like a never-ending cycle of regeneration of this process, right? And I'm seeing just what we just discussed with colorism, that for the, you know, it starts with the slave master and his teaching our people that, you know, the lighter one is going, and no, not even teaching, but showing them that we're going to treat the lighter one better than the darker one. And then from that process, the lighter ones sort of get this filled up acceptance of our open enemies. And then it becomes a game of talk, like you said, talking about and teasing people who are dark-skinned. And then those people who are dark-skinned have to come up with a defense to make them feel whole. And so they look at light skins and talk about all the tendencies within light-skinned people that make them feel better and more dominant, and say, we just the softer people because, we light-skinned. Now that's cool, but, it's really the Willie Lynch syndrome in full effect, because that's exactly what he wanted. He never had to implement that the dark would eventually turn against the light because they feel left out. He never had to implement, but they knew that this process would equal that by giving better rights, better privileges on the plantation than the other slaves. And so, that just sums it up right there. And you brothers just help we just help put together that equation in which we can see that there's two sides of it that always equals one against another, but it's internal now. It was the slave master against us. Now it's us against us. That's a powerful process right there. And so, yes, sir. For his next point, he talked about pitting the female against the male. I think that we're actually at the epitome of that type of psychological disruption. I think that it may be even worse now than it was on the plantation, because you had a sense that you were still a slave on the plantation. Right. Now it's like, no, we free and we still think like this, and we gonna put men down because we want to feel better about our actions. And one thing to me, it's like we're going against our very nature. And so we suffer more and more. And so we have to put more nonsensical defense on our efforts to be independent, which male and women are both dependent on one another through how Allah created us. It's nothing that you can do about that. Is there something that you all have on your mind, a current event, something that you've seen that you can explain how we still suffer from this today? Yes, sir, Brother Aidan.
Assalamu alaikum. So, back, when you read the Willie Lynch letter and it talks about how they divide us by sex, back in the day, that may have been considered male and female. I just read an article the other day. It said there's 81 genders.
Man.
So in the Black community, it's not just male versus female. Now it's bigender, transgender.
Come on. That's right.
81 types of other genders. And I was just watching, this is on topic, but off topic. I was watching a show because I was just trying to, watch the current entertainment. And I was watching Grownish. Yes. And it was an episode, they were talking about marriage. And they said marriage is an outdated, heterosexual, oppressive system that we need to get over with.
Wow.
Right? So you see, the enemy's goal, getting rid of marriage. When we grew up back in the day, I hear a lot of the old heads say, everybody back in the day, their parents was married, back in the 70s, back in the 60s, back in the 50s and so forth. We were married, even though we was under segregation, even though we was, dealing with lynching, even though we was dealing with Jim Crow, we still had the institution of marriage. But around towards the 80s and the 90s and then now, it almost seems strange to see a married Black couple. So this all goes back to the Willie Lynch days. And you even see it's in our nature to climb to a woman, to climb to marriage. Because what did we sing as children? We said, what? So-and-so sitting in the tree. K-I-S-S-I-N-G. What? First comes love. Then comes marriage.
Yes.
Then comes the baby in the baby carriage. But nowadays, first comes a DM for a sneaky link. Then comes Riz. We risen now. We're not looking for results. We risen. So
come on, brother.
Comes DMs. Then comes Riz. Then comes a baby out of marriage. Then comes Ron, and Tyrone abandoning the baby and going and find another woman to do it with.
Come on now.
We got to do better. That all comes from how they breeded us as horses during slavery. They said that's how they broke us. You had to break us in the wild state. So they breeded us like horses so we could produce slaves for the slave master.
Come on now, that's
right. It now in the music, we call each other stallions. We calling ourselves stallions. We calling ourselves horses. So all of these things to break up the balance, to break up the home, because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, no nation can rise any higher than its woman. And all nation has to start with what? Strong family. So in order to master the black man, you got to get to the black woman first.
Come on.
So they made all this confusion. You know, the devil is the art of confusion. You got many genders. You confuse this marriage is an old thing, old-fashioned thing now. So you know the devil is at work. That's all.
Come on. Thank you for that answer. I want to say to the people viewing right now, if y'all can hit that one button, which is the like button, it definitely does help to the page and toward the growth of this platform. And if you could hit one other button and hit that share button and share it to your followers for this benefit, this information is beneficial to all of our people. We appreciate you for doing so. Brother Alim, did you have anything you wanted to veggie back off the brother?
Yes, sir. And I like what you were saying beforehand about how even today is worse than it was before. Yes, and that just makes how in the Willie Lynch letter, he was saying that this would work for at least 300 years. And I believe that he wrote this in 1712. And as how that would have ended if it was at least in 2012. And say what he had wrote for us. He used this letter to master his slaves. So if he knew that this time period was coming where, okay, it's about to start slowing down, and this trick that we used on them, you know, the effect is going to wear off. He had to be more strategic in his ways on how to break up the family. As Brother Aidan was saying, family is the foundation of the nation. And that he know that people within a nation, if we start the effects of this thing started to wear down, he knew that we would start to rise up. So he had to be smart. He had to throw, we got the cell phones out. More people are attracted to the phones. We got to put music out. We got to put Megan Thee Stallion. We got to put, you know, what's his money bag? Yo, we got to use Glorilla. We got to make a song so that people get attracted to being independent black women. We got to get attracted to a black man being, you know, F that girl. I don't care about this woman. You know, we got to have that type of mindset. And they know that if we keep that mindset, that would allow that world to keep going. Because if you don't have you can't have a good nation. And he knows that against the black man doesn't have that cornerstone right there, they will never grow into the people that God needs us to become. And that's what he really is focusing on, is breaking up the black man and the black woman.
That's right.
So that's really that's one of the heaviest tricks out of this letter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, thank you for that, dear brothers. And as you said, man, it's just a thing of really, when we get down to the root of it, it's about being out of our nature, and the slave master still having his hand in the same Willie Lynch mindset like process today. As y'all, I appreciate y'all bringing up current comparisons to this type of activity to move forward on the side of what he's trying to teach the slave masters to maintain their dominance. He speaks on gaining or establishing for the slaves to trust the slave masters, to be dependent on the slave masters, and to even love the slave master. This is what Willie Lynch was trying to imply when he's saying that you have a much easier time if they admire and love you through you being their slave master. And so, man, it's kind of crazy. And so practice for one. So he said that if they were to practice this for one whole year, that we will be a self-implementing people of these terms. So he's saying just practice this for a year. They'll take it out of your hands and they'll be doing it themselves. Just like when you see the donkey hitched to the post and you take the rope off of the donkey doesn't even believe that he's free enough to walk away. Doesn't even notice that a rope was tied around his neck and doesn't make the necessary movements to free himself. And so does any thoughts come to y'all's head just off me speaking of those terms? Brother Aidan, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What you were speaking on, well, that's premature cognitive commitment, which we have today. If we see that not so long ago, a couple of decades ago, it was a flip phone. And then before that, they had the big old See, I wasn't born back then, but I believe they had the big old brick phones. And then before that, I think I don't know what they were doing. They may have been typewriting.
Yes, sir.
You know, if our technology has improved, don't you think, since everything is Bluetooth now, don't you think at some point the slave master wanted a Bluetooth Negro?
Come on.
So
that's
today,
right.
What you see walking around is a bunch of Bluetooth Negroes. they ain't got to lynch us anymore because there's a bunch of lynching going on in the hood.
That's right.
They don't have to discriminate against us and stop us from buying from Black businesses, because now you got to force us to buy from Black businesses.
That's right.
They don't got to kill us for us reading or trying to gain knowledge, because now you got to threaten to kill a Black man for him to seek knowledge.
Man.
So all of these things is self-perpetuating, really the slave master's plan. So they say how the moon is a reflection. It represents the prophets because they reflect the light of Allah. But now we are like the moon in a different form. We reflect the darkness from the slave master, the slavery, suffering, and death that he has taught us. So all of these things is to continue us from Willie Lynch, to give us plantation syndrome, Willie Lynch syndrome, plantation, you know, all of these things to make us self-refuting, that self-hate. And they actually teach it in the music. Because music is the best teacher.
That's right.
You know, how do we learn our ABCs? We learn our ABCs through song.
Yes, sir.
You know, what did our mothers used to do while we was in the womb? They would sing to us while we was in the womb. They would sing us to bed.
That's right.
So what are we being taught today from the music?
Come on.
You know, are we if we look at the top 100, you know, is there one song on there that's talking about a married Black man and a married Black woman?
Come on.
Just one.
That's right.
Just one.
That's right.
Is there one song where it's talking about respecting the Black woman, protecting the Black woman?
That's right.
So we're listening to music. I know people my age, you know, 20, especially in high school, all you see is the AirPods. All you see is the earbuds. So we're being taught, and we don't even know it. Because the Black man by nature is a man of rhythm, because the universe was designed in a rhythm, mathematics, you know, because Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. So the Black man he's attracted to good beats.
That's right.
So the slave master puts the good beats with his teaching in there.
That's right.
So we're like ventriloquist dolls, dummies, talking to the slave master, and he's putting his little messages in there, and subconsciously we self-perpetuate the Willie Lynch syndrome.
Come on. I want to bring up a fact that Tank the singer was talking about his efforts to try to make that type of music. And then he said he noticed something, that when Sam Smith, or somebody who wasn't of Black descent, released a song of that nature, that the whole industry got behind it to promote and push it. And he said when he does that he has to literally go and make sure that it's being heard, you know, and that it's not being suppressed by media outlets to not be heard. And so, you know, our enemy, he's allowing us to do what they implemented for us to do and taught us to do. But at the same time, they keep a little bit of supervision to make sure that one Negro that's trying to get out of line, we can stop that right in its tracks. And we don't even got to go to another conversation. We could cancel them on all platforms, make something up about them through a perspective that we have to give to their people to digest. And then in results, the artists and their people, they don't have a good connected relationship, because now you either sell out or you destroying the people, honestly. And so we need to do what we can to make good music that's beneficial for our people. But as a people, we got to be willing to support it. So that's one thing I definitely want to say about that. Yes, sir. And if there are no other thoughts on the forefront of our minds, the next thing he implemented is that you don't let any of these slaves read. And one thing they were talking about is basically reading is like an intellectual property. So we don't want you even knowing what it means to inspire a thought. We don't even want you in the process of becoming smart enough to understand what it means to be in the position you're in. And so when it comes to blocking out information, because that's basically what they did. They censored us as slaves. They say, listen, you ain't getting no information in, ain't no coming out. You're gonna learn what you learn on the plantation, and that's what it is. And so when we think about that today, when we think about censorship, canceling, how does that compare to that type of mindset when we talk about not letting the slaves read?
Well, I would say this, after they lied to us, first of all, about when slavery actually started. And we are taught by the most Elijah Muhammad. It began in 1555. And in that period of time before they told us, it started in 1619. It was 64 years of them making us into the perfect Negro, the perfect slave.
Yes, sir.
That's what led up to us being so tameable. Once we are living under a people, after being made a perfect slave, after being made the perfect Negro, now we're living amongst our enemy. So now we're starting to think like them. Now we're starting to look and perceive reality like them. And then first, since they don't allow us to read, they're teaching us everything that we know. Like you said, they taught the preacher what to preach. They taught the teacher what to teach. So now that we're consuming all of this falsehood, we really don't know who we are. Once they taught us of who God was, and that wasn't the real reality, now we're looking at a God in the sky, and we can't see God within ourselves. And now we're looking to our slave master as God. So us not being able to read, Satan or the slave master was able to use us as a tool to keep his world standing. Satan was able to use us as a tool to destroy ourselves. That's why you said all you needed was a year to practice it. Once you teach somebody how to do it and they become so perfect at it, they don't even know anything other but to be perfect on how to be. We don't know the knowledge itself. Our knowledge only goes back to slavery. We don't know before that. So that's really just the basics of that, man. We wasn't taught who we were. We was actually taught who the slave master was, and we only look up to them as God.
That's right. That's right. One important thing that they did was they replaced the role of what we knew the reality of God to be for us with their actual selves. So anything that you can depend on God for, they wanted you to not look toward the sky or to look toward yourself. They wanted you to look toward them for those type of things. And so we depend on God for our success. We depend on him to handle the challenges ahead of us. But basically what they said is, we don't care what you do, where you pray, we're going to set up these roadblocks in front of you to show you that we are the God of this world now. But we ought to be so grateful that the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is current in this world. And we have a minister, a leader, teacher, guide that's willing to sacrifice and lay his life on the line to make sure that we have the mental ability to get through these end times. And so just thinking about that, we're going to move on to the next implementation, which is separate the babies from their parents. And I wrote down something and I said, that's sort of like the way they do with these, I call them Katie calls, Karen calls, because sometimes the baby is not in any harm. It's like a white supremacist mindset that has to do with being nosy to know what's going on in a black household, to take a baby out and separate it from its mother and its father, to be able to put it into a school where it's learning about the white man and his successes in the world. And then you're separated from your parents for how long during the day? And then when you come back, you've been at work so long, you're too tired to teach your children the proper context and understanding of what they're learning in school. And so when it comes to taking our babies away from their parents, we got a lot of examples in today's time. Is there anything that comes to your mind? And I could even mention the border. That's just, it's like the nature of Caucasians at times is just to disrupt the indigenous people. Nothing going on. There's no benefit in separating Mexican children from their parents. That's not the solution. I know that ain't the right solution to whatever problem America's having. And so those are my thoughts on it. Is there anything that sparked in your mind? If not, it's okay, dear brothers. But if you got something you want to say, yes, sir, brother Aidan.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you read, again, it goes back to reading.
Yes, sir.
If you read a study done by one of our great scholars, Brother Jawanza Kunjufu.
Okay.
He said that the average mother spends about 34 minutes with her child.
Wow.
And guess what this is right here? Guess how much the black father spends on average with his child? On average, the black father only spends 7 minutes a day.
My
with his child.
Goodness.
So with the black mother only spending 34 minutes a day, you have the black father only spending 7 minutes a day. Man. So we have to ask ourselves, where is our child feeding from? Since he's clearly not feeding from the mother and definitely not feeding from the father. He's in the public the public school system.
That's right.
You know, where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that public school is a killing field.
Come on.
So how can it be a killing field if I'm graduated? If I graduated from Harvard, how can it be a killing field where it kills that mind? It kills that original mind that we possessed when we went in there. See, we can all go back to elementary school, and when they asked us, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, we all had big answers. I want to be the president. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a firefighter. But you go back and you talk to the 15, 16, 17-year-olds, not only do they not have high goals, but many of them don't have goals at all. They'll tell you they don't know what they want to be when they grow up.
That's right.
You know, so it's getting in there because they had aspiration assassins, as Brother Nuri Muhammad said. You know, because when I went in school, all my teachers told me I would be nothing in life.
Yes,
that's what my middle school teachers used to tell me.
Yes,
you know, right around 7th and 8th grade, we all have that one teacher, you know, that sees some light in you.
That's
and they try to dim that light.
Come on.
We get the result that we get in the black community, which is we get that Willie Lynch Syndrome. Instead of walking around as rulers, again, we walk around as Willie.
That's right. Man. Yes, sir. And one tactic that Willie was talking about, he said in basically the amount of time that the child sees its mother spending on serving a workforce that only benefits our former slave masters, it's a repeated mindset in the child. They don't no longer have to control them because the mother is now without a father in the household, giving the appearance as if the only way to operate in this life is to find something under our former slave masters. And so that's why they want to keep our women employed so much. Because as soon as they have a child, the child is not looking to do anything independent without a father in the home. You know, he's depending to look on what his mother's doing for survival and self-sustainability. And we literally just follow monkey see, monkey do. You know, I don't like to use that term, but we get the point there. And so was there anything sitting on the mind we want to clear that? Praise be to Allah. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother Aidan. Let me go ahead. So the next point that he made in that speech is to make us producers of their world and to never give our people a production heading of our own. So you produce nothing for yourself because you don't need nothing. You got us. So that was the whole point. That's how you put that equation together. We provide everything for you. So you don't have any inspiring thoughts to produce for yourself, but we want to put you in the mind state as if your nature is to serve us. So now you're just doing what you do. You're doing it naturally. You're doing it happily because you don't feel as if you have anything to produce for yourself because you got everything you need from your slave master. He making you feel like you ain't nothing. So you're gonna treat your life as if you're nothing. And so when it comes to making us sort of work for their world and leaving us clueless on what to do for ourselves, can we make any comparisons to this world and how it influences us to do that?
Yes, sir. Well, I would like to think back to what the minister was saying based off of when, you know, the activity of life, you know, let me phrase this correctly. I remember the minister speaking on how we have to justify our being. We have to justify our existence on earth. And if we're not busy creating something, if we're practicing business, we're not justifying our existence.
Man, and then you said you're dead.
So yes. We are actually for our slave master to produce everything for us, we're not justifying our existence. When we're depending on the enemy to do something for us, and then fighting for equal rights, fighting for something, asking our enemy to do something for us when we should be doing it for ourselves. We're asking for equality, but we're not equal in our thinking. And that may offend the average person or the average Black person, because we say, what you mean we're not equal? But if you're not busy trying to do something for yourself and you're depending on somebody else, does that sound like equality right there? It really doesn't. So by the slave master making us like that, he really destroyed our thinking for nationhood. He destroyed our thinking for producing children who would do something for themselves and bring in a world that would be our nature is righteousness. So we will bring in a world of righteousness and peace. But since we're in a world that's built on falsehood and lies, we're just aiding this man to keep his world up. So really, we're just people who've lost the ability to do for self. We lost the inspiration to do for self, and we just depend on our enemy destroying our, I would say, destroying. I don't want to say it in this way, but I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to go that far.
Yes, sir. Man, praise be to Allah. Thank you for sharing that, my brother. That was a beautiful breakdown. Brother Aidan, you all good? You got something you want to share?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you just look how much we spend, as a Black people in America, and I actually got it popped up here. This is according to a study called The Buying Power of Black America.
Yes, sir.
And it says that we spend $3.3 billion per year on tobacco, $3 billion per year on whiskey, wine, and beer.
Man.
It says we spend $2.8 billion per year on the non-alcoholic beverages.
Yes, sir.
We spend $3.1 billion per year on leisure time, on toys, games, and pets, $19 billion on telephone services, $10 billion on buying gifts, $13 billion on gambling.
Yes, sir.
So you just see where our money is going.
That's right.
And I think I heard Brother Nuri break down to where if we got together and we put our population together and our trillions of dollars in spending power, we would be competing with nations. We would be competing with Spain. We would be competing with actual self-serving nations.
Yes, sir.
And this is probably unheard of in the Black community because we love to brag about, I know me at least before the teachings, we like to brag about the Gucci.
That's right.
We like to brag about the Louis. We like to brag about the Givenchy,
yes, sir.
The Nikes. But if you look at all these things, who is Gucci? Does he like Black people?
Come on.
Who is Louis? Does he like Black people?
Come on.
Who is Nike? Phil Knight didn't give a damn when Kyrie Irving was doing what he was doing.
That's right.
He told Kyrie Irving, this is Nike. He told Kyrie Irving, Phil Knight, he said, he crossed the line.
Come on.
So basically he was playing the slave master to what he thought his fellow slave.
Come on.
So you see where we spend our money with, you see we brag. And we even put our other brothers down if they don't got some white man on their wrists. They don't got some white man on their feet. They don't got some white man on their, on their body.
That's right.
So we brag about that. And we put others down and we'll envy or even kill another brother. If he got on that Nike that I like. He got on that Gucci that I like. He got on that Louis that I like.
Yes.
So all of this goes back again to Willie Lynch and how he took us from rulers back to Willie.
That's right, man. And I want to mention, right, just from talking about those outlets in which they have done certain individuals wrong and we're noticing, I want to mention how we can see Allah. If we're too attached to something, he'll bring a frustration out of the people so grave that you don't want nothing to do with the company no more. You don't even want to walk in the store no more. I'm not walking into Nike willingly. I got a little grudge against them. Whoever, Adidas, don't matter. Anybody going against truth coming into the ears of our people, you an enemy to me. And so, we gotta, for them to try to punish brothers for speaking the truth. Like you said, that's literally plantation work right there. And you're trying to show the people that this is still our plantation and you can't do what you want to do. So I thank y'all for sharing, man, those beautiful key points pertaining to, you know, that implementation by Willie Lynch. To move forward, we sort of talked about this. I wrote down, you know, the implementations to strip away our independent nature. And so anytime we get, so that it, you know, you sort of eliminate dissatisfaction when you change the nature of something, right? So if you know, as a human being, if I don't feel like I'm supposed to do anything for myself, I can't be mad at you for not allowing me to, you know? And so it's that type of mindset that they gave us and really worked hard to implement on the plantation. And then the next one is break them from one state of mind into another. And basically he said that we need to break the body and take their mind. And so it's been we can see today, we got to get up at whatever time to go work for the white man. But guess what? We don't wake up. We don't give a prayer to the Almighty God who created us. We forget about that. You know, we go into work, we clock in, and we forget that you have a self-pride in yourself to represent your people. And so when you go into these workplaces, we submit, just like when we get into the big house, you know, we get into the house Negroes and we start to further nurture our open enemies and it gives an example of how the children and our people should be treating them. And so we stuck in a cycle of putting one another down for our bosses, for the government, you know, for local people who may be able to give us an opportunity over one another. And they want you to, you know, well, you're going to have to go against them. You don't rock with them no more, but we're going to give you an opportunity. And so it's literally just plantation work. Does anybody got something on the forefront of their mind they want to add to that? Praise be to Allah. It don't got to be nothing. I appreciate y'all, dear brother. Y'all giving a lot. Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
I will drop something. And this brings back to the letter on how Willie Lynch was talking about he says the nigger marriage. He was basically, his duty was to take away the father from the house, take away the father family. And as he was doing this, he was breeding and influencing the woman. And he was woman so independent that he knew that when she had a female daughter, you know, she would install independence in her. If he had he would make the son interdependent. He would make them soft, make more weak mentally, but strong physically. So that was one that he was able to break down the family, but it would go for generations after generations. And that was really something that came to the forefront of my mind from the letter.
Yes, sir. And praise be to Allah. We gonna move on to the portion of the letter where it talks about breaking the mother to break the offspring. It seems like since the woman was given this submissive nature toward the slave master, that they wanted to put that in the very forefront of the offspring. He even mentioned leaving the offspring, paying less attention to them, because all they gonna do is pay attention to what the mother's getting herself into, and it's all service toward the slave master. And so the youth or that child looks and goes, well, I guess if my mother's is serving this man, then I guess this is my purpose as well. You know, it's like a clear example of the life that you're going to live. So get used to it, young buck, you know, and just watch back and watch them out. So they talked about hand feeding the woman, you know, breaking her down to the point to where she's just submissive, but you don't beat her too bad, because then that's bad for her submissiveness to you to be willing to be submissive. And so they talk about very strategic things, man, to where, you know, it's like how the white man gives our black women opportunities in the corporate world nowadays, but will literally strategically not give the black man an opportunity in that same environment, because a lot of these corporate white men really want them to themselves. And we just gonna be real in that nature. They want them to themselves and they want to separate them from the mindset of black men, period. So let me show you the world that we've created. Let me show you my accomplishments and bring you under me so that you can admire me now. Does anybody have any thoughts to add to that? Brother Aidan, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. If we understand the science of mating, which is one of the three sciences that was not to be taught to the slaves. If we go to the science of mating,
yes, sir,
we will see that thoughts is actually liquid. Come on. So our thoughts, since they are liquid, they travel throughout the body. Mm-hmm. And if a woman is pregnant, a black woman is pregnant, and she's having thoughts of the corporate world, if she's having thoughts of, she sees on the news of black men being, shot unarmed by police officers, mainly white males. Mm-hmm. And she has that fear for the maybe son that's in the womb. All of those thoughts, since they're liquid, they go into the womb. Mm. So we have children, they don't even have to be seen. They don't even have to see it. They just know it instinctively, but from birth, because those thoughts went on to the baby.
Come on. Good teaching, brother. I want everybody to know, man, that's straight from the teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We would know nothing about the inner workings of God and how he sinks your mind to the child if it wasn't for these teachings. We still be out here. We probably think it's okay just to, I'm gonna teach me. I'm gonna curse as much as I want to. I'm gonna think the way I want to. I'm upset now. I want to eat this, and man, it's such a powerful thing that we have in these teachings to where you could even break it down so simply of something that's really difficult to understand in hindsight. Brother Alim, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And based off of what Brother Aidan was saying, even after the mother gives birth, when she starts to breastfeed the child, that's the same process. Milk that you're given to the baby, your thoughts travel through that. That's how a lot of times, whatever your mother is scared of, she can pass those fears onto the child. Whatever struggles mother has, whatever addictions that mother has, she can pass on to the child. And a lot of the time, you smoking, you're drinking while you're even breastfeeding, you can pass those toxins to the baby. So a lot of the things instilled into the mother, we're passing through to the baby while they're still in the womb, or even while they're.
Come on now. Now just think, man, out of all the trash food that they gave us during that time, out of all of the, all of the mental struggles that we had to go through in that time, all of the crossbreeding that was done to us in that time, I think Allah, we still a beautiful people. It's almost very hard to believe when you break down all these facts and you go, damn, like we still here, we still doing our thing. So it's an absolute blessing to see that we can mention these things that was done to us and the God that still brung us through that fire to make us a beautiful people. And so I want people to always consider that it may seem like it's bad now, but it's only bad because we have a mindset that we don't want to unify. And that's the only thing in our way. So let's get that out the way and let's build a better nation for ourselves. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And so moving on to the next topic that he talked about what it meant to break the dominant male. And so, what they would do is embarrass, demoralize, and nearly kill the male, not to kill him all the way and demoralize the rest or unmotivate the rest of the slaves to motivate to keep serving you. Because you beat down the big brother and you kill him, then we have no hope. That's basically what it say. Like, we don't got no hope, then we just gonna be scared of you for the rest of the time. But if you almost kill him and you let him to survive, they get to see that example. Oh, guess what? Master got some type of mercifulness in him. And you go, whoa, the big guy can't handle him. So I guess we gonna submit to this process as well. Anything from this time today that reflects what was just said?
Yes, sir. Just real quick, how they did our brother Kyrie and brother.
Come on, that's right. Beautiful, man. Yes, sir.
With a lot of quote unquote, I'll say street leaders or gang leaders that have influence to move the youth, that had ability, that has strength. And even after they changed their mindset to want to have a better community, they wanted to develop their community, they put them into prison. They locked them up, gave them huge of debt. They did all type of things, or they just outright sent somebody to kill them. And then that's how you sheep, you know. So that's one of the things that we can see modern day.
Come on now. And to let y'all know about the man that we have in our midst today, there was a brother that's a rapper who's a Crip that was trying to reform who he was and the people that surrounded him. He was bringing Crips to come and meet and get words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And when they arrested that brother, they put in his transcripts that the reason why he got extra time is because he was bringing Crips to meet with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he said that's one of the biggest anomalies in his whole case, that he just doesn't understand and can't figure it out, you know. And so there's there's two sides to this, man. There's people that want to keep their control, and there's a man that's bringing us the knowledge to bust up all of that control and give us the innovative mindset to control our own destinies with the help of Allah. And so I want to be able to move. Let's see, what's the next? Oh, does anybody have anything else on their mind about what it means with the embarrassment, the demoralization, and the buck breaking of black men today? Man, praise be to Allah. We're gonna move on, and he started to talk about directly after that the female, you know, and how to control and get the submissive nature of the female to turn to them rather than the black man. And it said that the female slave basically has to never depend on the male slave, and this results in the children's lack of trust and dependency on the father. Okay, I got some thoughts, but I want to hear what y'all may have to say about, you know, that implementation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Brother Aidan, yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
And so you can see it, you know, when we go to the colleges and universities, you know, who do we mainly see? Are we seeing the black man? Or are we seeing mainly the black woman?
Good point.
And even when you see black men come into the colleges, you got the black woman, they're studying nursing, they're studying chemistry, majoring in chemistry, majoring in biology, majoring in, you know, nation building.
That's right.
You know, majors. Right. And what is the black man majoring in? Physical education.
Come on.
You know, we take pride in our strength.
That's
big
right.
muscles, big triceps,
come on,
big shoulders. You know, but we don't care about having a big brain. We don't care about having a big spirit.
Come on.
You know, and this is the process that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is breaking. So that's why they're mad at the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. They're trying to throw stones at him. They're trying to crucify him, but they just keep missing. You know, because you see him, he's breaking the black woman from, you know, that independent state. You know, he's putting the black woman and the black man back together.
That's right.
So we can nation build.
Come on now.
So although you see what's going on in the colleges, although you see what's going on in the homes, when you come to Muhammad's mosque, whether it's Miami, whether it's Detroit, whether it's Las Vegas, you know, what do you see? You see the mighty MGT and you see the mighty FOI.
That's right.
Together, you know, unified.
Yes.
Ready to change the world and bring in the hereafter, not waiting to die, but ready to have it on earth while we live.
All praise is due to Allah. Brother Alim, you asked something you wanted to veg you back off?
Yes, sir. Well, when you take away the father, then replace it with our enemy, that's like basically they looking at that as a prize. They're looking at our women as a prize.
That's right.
That's the ability to install whatever they would like into our children in her. And not around to protect, not to guide, not to lead. You
put the equation together.
Come on, you don't have all these things as the black man is really taking us back to God. He's really cutting off that chain for us to really resurrect ourselves. You know, God is, but if we're not a part of that process, we're going to get left behind. So he's really cutting those links and chains for us to be able to come back into ourselves. You know, without the woman, another thing, but without the man, we need both in order to come up. You know,
that's right. So, praise be to Allah. And I want to mention toward a black reality that a lot of people know about, that if you get accepted for Section 8 housing, that you can't bring a father into the home. So you have replaced your services to our people with fatherhood in the household. So you say, I'll provide shelter for you. We'll get you an EBT card. You get you some food. You do not need a man whatsoever in this life. And he cannot even come into the house. And if we seen workers to see, and they see that he even got clothes in the house, we're going to send you and the whole family on your way. So it's really, they really just look at everything they did from the past and give it a new vision and a new face, and really repackaged it as help and said, you know what? We know that y'all too poor. We don't want to give y'all education to bring, financial literacy to y'all. We're going to give y'all free housing. We're not going to give y'all financial breaks that y'all deserve from your former slave masters, but we're going to give you free housing, and you cannot bring the father in this household. It's really strategic, for a devil. It's very wise, if you want to build a world that puts down the very nature of Black people. They doing a very good job of it. But we have the very much power, as Brother Aidan spoke about earlier, having $3 trillion in spending power. We could, we got the ability to house ourselves, feed ourselves. Anybody who's going through a crisis, we can give them Black benefits. We got the power to give benefits ourselves, really. And so, is there anybody else that wanted to add something? Praise be to Allah. That's what I'm talking about. And so, as we continue, I know there's a lot of information, people, but so much work was done on us that we wouldn't even realize today. That's why we got to compare it to today's time to get you to understand that we are still in a position of slaves. Okay, we feel free, but in all actuality, statistically, we are still in a position of slaves. And another implementation that helped keep us in a slave-like mindset from William Lynch, it says the more so basically the more that they broke the mill, the more our women had to depend on the master. And we basically just talked about that, gave points toward that, but that has to be re-mentioned. The male will continue to fear the master, and the woman would grow to admire him. So we talked about that process as well, man. You break, buck break the male, make the woman to be more dependent on the slave master because she needs to be housed, fed, and in all reality, she needs to be secure in a way. And so he's providing that false sense of security. Is there any ways we can mention what it means for them to provide other than those benefits, a false sense of security within us?
Hey,
yes, sir, Brother Aidan.
Mentioned briefly, in Scripture, one thing that Satan promises is nearness to him.
Ooh, come on.
So today, what does the slave master promise? The successful slave, he promises nearness.
That's
you can
right.
live in my community.
That's right.
You can be in the big slave house, the White
Come
House.
On.
You can be my vice president. You can even be my spokesman.
Come on.
Spokeswoman. So nearness to him. Yes, even in the designer brands, they're designer, but they're designed by the white man.
Come on.
Nearness. We like Nike, but we like it because it's cool, but we also like it because it's nearness to him. Gucci, all that stuff is nearness to him.
That's right.
So that's one thing that the slave master, one of the false promises or whatever he gives to us is really nearness to him and status. We can look like big niggas around the plantation.
That's right.
With our Versace shades on. And
come on.
So we can drive it around past the other slaves on the plantation.
That's right.
We don't want to get economic gain to nation build like others do, like the Asian community does, like the Mexican community does. We want it so we can stay on the plantation and just look like better, well-dressed slaves.
Yes, sir. That's right. Brother Alim.
Yes, sir. Just what Brother Aidan was saying, he promises us nearness to him. He makes us think that we get his education. We go to the finest of colleges. We pay thousands of dollars to get this education. We'll become more wise. We'll be able to know more things about his world. He thinks that we, want to be pleased by the material wealth of him. And that's what God was to destroy Pharaoh's wealth because we so enamored with his wealth. We won't let him go because he keeps feeding us more material things. He thinks,
that's right.
We think that by, submitting to his type of thinking, we'll become more wealthy physically, more
That's
material wealthy. And that's one of the things. He just gives us that false sense of security with his just material wealth, his wealth.
Yes, sir. That's right. Y'all know I was watching this clip of this movie. It was some Caucasians around the table talking about our community and what it means for the brightest of us to be pulled in by one of them out of our community to their circle, so that they no longer have an influence on our community, and they can now instill whatever mindset they like to by controlling him through money and through privileges. You get to come to this party. You the only Negro here, right? And then they mention stuff like that, like you're supposed to. It's a happy moment for you. Like, okay, man, let's get some more black people in here. Yeah, I like that a lot more. But they do these type of things and invite you to the table, give you the benefits that people in your neighborhood really don't get. But with these teachings, man, and how unified we have to be as a people today, we have to each one teach one, and anything that we learn. Or if we create a path to where a door that can be open for somebody, we ought to be excited to open up doors for our people. And I think that if all the athletes, musicians, entertainers took their money and wanted to open up opportunities for people in their community, they can do so today. I don't think we could give them an excuse anymore, because you've gotten what you desire, but you haven't even, studied or looked into what God may desire from you with all that responsibility that he's given you. And so, yes, sir, man, praise be to Allah. The next thing he preached about was to kill the protective image of the man, right? Mm-hmm. And so, man, they trying to strip away our manhood every single day here in America. You can't even have an opinion about what it means to be a natural human being anymore without offending somebody. I can't even agree with the way I came into this earth without offending somebody who disagree with the way they came into this earth. And it's sort of, man, the truth mixed with falsehood is really what messes things up, because, on one end, you say it as if it's like a choice that you have, right? And you discard all that God does. But on the other side, they are being chemically manipulated to literally be altered into the opposite gender, or to have tendencies and characteristics that reflect the opposite gender. We can't even blame all of our people nowadays. All we can do is give them the message, give them that knowledge of what may have happened to them, so that they may have an understanding of God's form of knowledge, and rising above emotions into the thinking of God, and having collective understanding of what's going on. Because we come and we may say it's kind of hard as a religious person to correct somebody who may be in that lifestyle. But we're not here as the Nation of Islam to do that to you, because we understand what's going on, what happened, the root behind your turning, why you're so unmotivated to be with the man, and why a man may be unmotivated to be with a woman. Is because we're against each other nowadays. We are at odds. And so it's not motivating for us to even go into that lifestyle. And I want to mention anybody who may even have a comment, a question, just want to drop a like on the stream. We appreciate you in doing that. But for the brothers, anything comes to your mind when it comes to killing the protective male image in our community, or destroying it, Yes, sir.
You see it in what's called, as the enemy calls it, toxic masculinity.
Man, what a term.
what is toxic about masculinity?
Come on, brother.
It's really, we need to have a thing called toxic Caucasian, because his doctrine has poisoned
that's right,
the whole earth, and created falsehood. And you see it with the LGBT agenda that they have. That's I think right. Now it's the LGBTQ
plus
TQIAA. They added so much to it, and it's really their agenda, because now they have something called I think it's called trans age. To where now they want to go back into their pedophilia. They're making it a lifestyle and glorifying.
Wow.
And putting it under. They don't want to fully put it under their LG, their organization.
That's
or their clarifications yet. But really it's their agenda to go back to that, because really all that homosexuality, it started in Europe.
That's right.
It started in the caves of Europe. They were having not only sex with other men or other women, but they were having sex with their dog.
Come on.
We read about in the Holy Quran in the chapter where it talks about the caves. And it says, 3 men were in a cave and the fourth was the dog.
Wow.
So all of these things come from the white man's world. It comes from the European doctrine, the toxic European doctrine, not the toxic masculinity, because we have in the Nation of Islam, the FOI, we have healthy masculinity. We don't have black men who's going to abuse the fact that they're the providers,
no way,
and protectors, and use it to oppress the black woman.
Come on.
We ain't doing that.
That's
We're using it to elevate, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said protect and elevate the black woman.
Come
on.
We're
doing just that as taught by our commander-in-chief.
Come on.
Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Let me see. Did we? Okay. Did you gave words, Brother Alim? I can't even remember. Okay, there you go. Praise be to Allah. And y'all can always just throw your hand up if you got a thought so I can see you and we can just move on smoothly like that. In the next implementations that Willie Lynch made, he talked about introducing new levels of labor to create an illusion of status. So, right, we get our job, we become registered nurses, and we really think that we rose above the condition of our people. When you can see that as soon as you step outside, you see the field Negro. He's being tortured through these hours of labor, getting nothing and not being able to pursue his purpose and having not the time nor the energy after going on this long work hours to pursue that job. It's like we really became, they really gave us their mindset, because white supremacy is only built off thinking that somebody is inferior to you, right? And so we took that mindset. We see nothing naturally in ourselves. So everything that was a physical attachment or a lifestyle attachment to us, we throw in each other's faces. We really roll through the hood just to flex on our brothers and sisters. We don't do it in the white communities where they may have this similar car. You don't do it because it's a status thing. Let me go and make my status feel more viable and maybe matter of fact more verified just by going through my community and seeing that I ain't do nothing for the people, but they can admire what I got going on here. When it comes to that status, man, we are something in our community, man. Brother Aidan talking about the designer and what it means to support their world. And it seems, right, that anything that they make us proud of ourselves, ultimately, when you put that equal sign, it support their world. Come on. Anything, you get your chains, come on, brother, we got you, right? We got you. You want a big house? We got you. Come on now. You want some food, we'll give you a diet. It ain't gonna be healthy. It ain't gonna be how to eat to live, but you'll be eating steak and shrimp all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? Crab legs for that, that cost $2 in reality, given to the people for hundreds of dollars. It's ridiculous. And so when we think about that illusion there, what y'all got anything on your mind there, brothers?
Well, what comes to my mind is really how he raises up athletes or entertainers that is put these brothers or sisters at a certain position. And that gives us as people that may be at a level not so high as that, and the perspective of looking at it from this world. Yes. And us to believe that, okay, since they were able to do it, I'm able to do it. But once you see that, it's all a trick, it's really not possible, you start to look at that person with envy or jealousy. That's and then we start to see that spread throughout the community. And then you got the rapper or the entertainer or the athlete that looks down on his brother or sister because they were not able to make it and looks less or not that equal. And that just brings about the division. And that's why we see a lot of the murdering between our brothers and sisters. One that's maybe famous, and then he's get his life taken by somebody that's less famous, or vice versa. And that's one of the, the ways that Satan really keeps us divided by our status. He brings one up, keeps the other one down, make the other down think that he can come up. So they fight so hard to do these different things, thinking that they got a chance in this world, when Satan really used the trick of bringing up your brother, making you think the same can happen for you.
That's right. Come on. Beautiful, brother. Brother Aidan. Yes, sir.
The enemy, like our brother Alim said, the enemy, which is the God in us, the enemy is affected by the enemy.
Yes, sir.
So we walk around, because by nature, the black man is God.
That's right.
Do you know, black man, that you have God in your DNA?
Come on.
No, like seriously. If you break down DNA, it's an acronym for deoxyribonucleic acid. And if you break down the word deoxy, where'd our brother go? Our brother done disappeared. See, that's that Willie Lynch.
Right here, brother. Man, continue, dear brother. I apologize.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, you break down the word DNA. DNA is an acronym for deoxyribonucleic acid. And if you break down the word deoxy, it's related to the Latin word deus, which means God. And if you break down the word ribbon, it's related to the Arabic word rab, which means the Lord who nourishes stage by stage into evolutionary perfection.
Wow.
And then you got nucleic, it means center. So at the center of every cell of the black man, there is a God who nourishes stage by stage into eventual perfection.
Come on.
So inside the nature is God. So the white man, what he wants to do, and what Willie Lynch wants to do, is he wants to silence that self-accusing spirit. So he raises us up as, like Brother Alim said, as athletes, as entertainers. So this makes a ceiling for us. So we don't think we can go. It's like that premature cognitive commitment. You can get rid of the ceiling, but that's all we think we can go up high. That's the highest we think we can go. So when you go to the schools, I want to be like Lil Durk. I want to be like Stephen Curry.
That's right.
I want to be like John Morant.
Yes.
You don't hear him say, I want to be like God himself.
Come on.
I want to be like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I want to be like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They don't even say, I want to be like Huey P. Newton.
Come on.
I want to be like Fred Hampton. I want to be like Marcus Garvey. No, they want to be athletes and entertainers, because that's really what the slave master has presented to us for us. So we don't think we can do anything else, and we have geniuses in our community.
That's right.
Black man, you may be a genius. You may have a gift in biology. You may have a gift in chemistry, but you don't know it, because all we want to do is see how high we can jump, how many push-ups we can do and pull-ups we can do for the slave master to entertain them.
That's right.
Come on, man. Beautiful breakdown, brother. That was nice, brother Aidan. I'm gonna have to just go off course and tell you that was nice, big brother. Yes, sir. And so, man, as we continue, he talks about, and I think that all of our words collectively has summed up this point in creating a network that regenerates itself without supervision, right? And they leave the supervision, but even if they wasn't to supervise us, we put ourselves in a very terrible situation and position in life. And so they really are at that position where they don't have to supervise us. And the same things that Willie Lynch implemented will regenerate itself. We see that the people even today, if it wasn't for the help of Allah, I don't think the regeneration process would be so hard. Because look at the position we in today, even with having the teachings in the midst of our people, the minister among our people. You know what I mean? It seems like we're going to experience things that have our people to dislike and disapprove of this world. And they're going to have to be so dissatisfied that they see that the stuff that we say ain't just for play. We ain't saying that your open enemy is the devil just to give him a bad name. No, We're not saying that the black man is God in the first just because we have some minuscule understanding of biology. No, we know what's going on. We know we were here first and who we produced. We can give you a good breakdown of what it is scientifically if you need that, you know, and there's no more excuses for us today when it comes to that reoccurring cycle. You know, all we can do personally as brothers is implement it within ourselves, try to get the youth and reinvent ourselves in them to show them what Allah gave us through the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And, you know, it's just a reoccurring cycle with everything that we talked about today. And just hearing the word reoccurring cycles, is there anything that Allah may have sparked in your mind just to mention that we haven't talked about today?
I said, no, not right now. But before I let you go, I might have to head off. I only have 1% left on my phone.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to die, y'all. Like,
yes, sir.
I'm down, brother.
Trying to hold you to the last percent.
Yes, sir. Man, and we getting ready to wrap it up. What I want you to do is tell people where they can find your wave cream, brother. Give them the website and all that, because you know, if you're gonna have some during Savior's Day, anything like that, I gotta support, man. Your hair be looking like, I don't know what you putting in them bottles, man. I need some of it though.
Yes, sir. Well, as right now, I'm currently sold out, and I'm restocking probably within the next week or so. But you can go to royalways.com. Just Royal then Ways, WAYZ.com.
Yes, sir.
Find me on social media at my name, Alim Shahid, on TikTok, Instagram, on YouTube, or Facebook.
Praise be to Allah, man. So I thank you, brother, until your phone does die, for you joining us here. And you know, giving your time, your effort, your love to the youth to be able to give what our teacher put in your mind to give to them. So, man, we appreciate you coming here, and we're gonna have you on for further discussions, inshallah, most definitely.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And so for the last point, it just speaks on how the enemy didn't want us speaking our natural language, or speaking even a different language than them that may have been the same. And I sort of thought on this, and I go, why would they do that, right? Number one, if you're forced to use a language that you do not use, it's gonna make you dumber in general. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know the language, you're struggling to use it, and then it allows your open enemy to manipulate you with words because you don't understand them. You know what I mean? And you may even, wow, my good, I got my example for it, big brother. You got anything on your mind that you would like to give toward separating language barriers to be able to sort of control the output of communication, dumb the people down so that you can manipulate them with words? Anything come to your mind?
Yes, sir. The devil or Satan separated us from our language, because in our language carries the history,
come on,
traditions,
that's right,
cultures and ways of our people.
Come on.
So he gives us his language, and when he gives us his language, he really gives us a limited understanding of his language, because it's his language. He's the master.
That's right. That's right.
So we barely know English.
Come on, brother.
You know, we can barely articulate ourselves in English. That's why the black man has the worst reading and writing scores of all people.
That's
all
right.
genders.
That's right.
Because we're not interested in this language. That's why you see us speaking Ebonics, because by nature, this is not really our language.
That's right.
You know, our original language is Arabic. You know,
yes, sir.
People hear us saying Assalamu alaikum.
Come on.
We know Jesus said in the Bible, he always greeted his disciples with peace be upon you.
That's right.
He didn't speak English.
That's right.
You know, he speak Hebrew and ancient Arabic. So that was Assalamu alaikum.
That's right.
But we got the same language as Jesus. We got the same language of our ancestors.
That's right.
Back all the way to the first ancestor, which
That's
is Almighty God himself.
Oh,
so
praise.
They give us his language, his ways, his culture, his brain, really.
Come on.
While we should have the brain of God himself, like they said in the scripture, let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. We need that Christ consciousness.
That's right.
You know, that crusher of the wicked.
That's
not
right.
just crushing the wicked, necessarily talking about the white man's rule,
yes,
but we
sir.
need to crush the wicked up here.
That's right.
We need to evaluate ourselves. We need to check ourselves, because really we have the thoughts. We have satanic thoughts given to us from the language. Language is not necessarily talking about English, Arabic, Spanish. It is.
Come on.
But we got the language, meaning we got the white man's way of life. We got his language. We speak his language.
Come on.
We call each other niggers.
That's
call
right.
each other this. We kill each other.
That's
we
right.
look at a black woman and call her the B word, call
Come
her
on.
a cop, call her a hoe, you know, trying to get her attention through risen up and trying to attract her on the lowest of standards. So we got the white man's language.
That's right.
We got some changing to do.
That's
Brother
right.
Anthony.
Man. And think about the slate that we were left with when we started out with. You don't know no English, but the only English you know is degrading towards you and your people. That's the only thing you can use now. So my slave master called me a nigga. I could go and do the same thing with you, right? You know what I mean? And it's an ongoing cycle of doing that. And also our enemy with the use of words. Just think about these contracts that they give us. It's not, they know they use certain words that they know we don't understand in these contracts. They use certain words in what was it? So within the contracts, but then within sort of things like what they promise us when it comes to voting and the things they tell us that they're going to do with California in that reparation bill that they put out. Guess what? It's a reparation bill, but it's a reparation bill for people who can prove that their ancestors were enslaved from this period to this specific period. And then all we see is reparations for Black people in California. That's all we see. We get hyped up and we really don't understand his language. And really his language is wickedness. So if you're looking at a contract and you're looking for the wickedness in it, you'll find it. You know, you'll find it. But if you're just looking for an opportunity to be head Negro in town, then you're going, whatever he got offered to you is what you want. I'm going to give you a $1 million loan that you got to pay back. And that's going to give him enough satisfaction to go and impress the women in his community. That's all he wants, you know? Yes.
That's that Riz.
Come on, man. That's all we want. They know what we want because they influenced us to desire what we want today. You know, and so that's a master plan. Let me provide what I'm implementing for people to desire that's detrimental to them. Man, it's a wicked people. But you know, with the help of Almighty God Allah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his teacher, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and those teachings as a foundational base for our people, man, we'll get through any of these things that we mentioned today. So Brother Aidan, do you want to conclude by giving them your social media and things where they can find you at, brother?
Yes, sir. You can find me on Instagram at my name, Brother Aidan X. And you can also find me on Twitter with Brother Aidan X. They kicked me off of TikTok, so I'm working to get back on TikTok. Yes. You know, the enemy banned me on there. Yes. And you can also find me if you're ever in the Las Vegas area. Come on down to 1402 D Street, Muhammad Mosque 75. That's 75, the resurrection chapter of the Holy Quran.
Yes.
So come on down. Here are beautiful brother student minister, Brother Dwayne X, give a resurrecting message. Our 1402 D Street meetings start on Sunday at 11. And we also got the Wednesday meetings at 7:30 and the Friday meetings at 7:30. And you can also come to the women's class, which starts, I believe, at 9 a.m. and the men's FOI class on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Come on out. Come on out, Las Vegas. Come on out, West Coast, to the beacon light of the West Coast, Muhammad Mosque 75.
Yes, sir. I'm going to say the same thing. If y'all can follow, y'all will see that it's scrolling on the bottom right now, but follow 7th Region TNG on Facebook, Instagram. I definitely appreciate that. And please, if you do have the time to come out, the same days that Brother Aidan mentioned, but we definitely want you to come out on Sunday at 11 a.m. to come and see and join your people for the knowledge that we like to give you, to try to see what you can gain out of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and try to see the love that you can receive from us, because that's all we really want to do is show you the proper love, the same love that God himself shows to our people. We try to emulate that in the mosque. So please make your way out. It's Muhammad's Mosque number 29 here in Miami, Florida. So, you know, if you have the time, please, even if you don't have the time, try to make the time, because there's nothing more important than the knowledge of self. Because without knowledge of self, you don't have love for self, and you can't produce love within the community of your people. So I thank you all for joining us. You know, we will be doing these every Tuesday and Saturday, picking up now. So I thank you all for who have been through this whole stream, this whole time. I appreciate your love and support. Please leave a like, share this to your peers. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings, family.